everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be talking all about university. So this will be into two parts. I'm first going to talk just about overall university, and then I'm going to talk about like being into a faculty and kind of how like studying changes, and I'll talk about my experience with my faculty. If you don't know already, I am in my last year of nursing, so I kind of have some tips and tricks to get you through, especially with the pandemic and everything. It definitely has changed, so I'm going to talk about that, and I hope you enjoy. Please like this video, subscribe if you aren't already, and yeah, let's begin. Also, I'm going to have timestamps, so if you want to just go to a certain section, you can do that. It'll be in the description. The first thing is, you don't need to be perfect at everything, and for me especially, like, I am a perfectionist. I have been my whole life. Like, I try really hard on things that I am passionate about, and for school, that was definitely one thing. And going into university from high school is a lot different. Studying, I didn't like, obviously I studied in high school, but it wasn't to the extent that I did in university, so it was kind of like a switch of like my mindset. And my first year of university, I didn't get really the grades that I was hoping for, but that's okay. A lot of people, when they go into university, like, expect these high marks, and because they got that throughout all of, like, you know, middle school and high school, but it's okay if you don't. It's a learning experience. That's what university is, and when you don't do as well, then you learn from it, and then you can get better. So that's one tip I have, and also I've learned a lot of that in nursing, so go to the next part if you want me to touch on that part more. Obviously put like you're all into it and try like really hard to study and do your best, but it's okay if you don't get the grades that you were expecting, because I definitely didn't, and now I just feel so much more you know, educated, and I feel like I learned a lot, especially throughout my first year or so of school, because I took 2 years, my prereqs, or just University 1 is what it's called in my school. So it's kind of just, you take like a bunch of classes, see what you like, and then you kind of decide what faculty you want to go in from there, like what you want to major and minor. Second tip would be, don't spend your money on clothes. Now, I remember when I was in high school, I would spend hours in the morning getting ready and like looking, like putting makeup on and just looking like great. And I mean, you can still do that for university. Like, if that's something you love, then go ahead, like, keep doing it. But for me, realistically, like, I just wore like leggings, sweatpants, like super easy pieces to just throw on and get out the door, because with university it's a lot more work, and I felt like I wanted to prioritize my sleep and other things in my life so that I could balance school and my outside life. So I usually just like threw on something quickly. I would recommend like spending money on like basic pieces, because you can wear it more than once, and it's really easy to style. And I do my hair in buns all the time. I think it's cute, but it's still like super easy. I have like Dutch braids in right now, and just goes to a bun in the back. So I do this hairstyle a lot. I do just a lower bun. I do a bun on top of my head, a messy bun. Like, you can switch it up, but I would recommend just saving your money for other things. Once you meet friends, you're gonna want to you know, go out for lunch or whatever. Yeah, just spend it on certain pieces that you think you'll wear all the time. And also, if you're online, like, I'm in my, like, I go out, so I have some pieces that like I would wear out, but usually when I'm at home I just wear sweatpants and like a hoodie. And I am at home quite a bit because I have a full course load. So that's just like a little tip. If you like to get dressed up, like, go ahead. I'm not saying don't, I'm just saying, like, for me this is what worked, and kind of like my tip. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money or anything, but again, just a little tip from what I've experienced. Third thing is, you need to learn how to be okay with change. So especially now with the pandemic, things have like changed a lot, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about that in like the nursing section. The pandemic definitely changed my way of studying and how I learned, because it was all online. But I'll talk about that in the next section. But just overall, like, when you're going into a new school, like, obviously it's going to be different than your high school. Bigger classes, you're not going to know as many people, so kind of just like keep up an open mind and, you know, talk to people, get to know people. I think I was really quiet in my first year, and I didn't really meet a lot of new people, and that's one thing I wish I did more, especially when we were in person, because I was in person in my first few years. Kind of live in the moment and like accept what's happening at that moment, because things can change so quick, and I'll talk more about that in the nursing section. And the last tip I have for overall university is take time for yourself. I know school is super important, and you will be spending a lot of time on school, but it is important to take time for yourself, you know, work out, do some yoga, go out with some friends, do baking, whatever your hobby is. Just put your books aside, even if you're like, oh, I'm not done yet, I need to finish this. Give yourself at least an hour a day, more than that, to just be with yourself and put the school aside. Don't worry about it. I know it's hard sometimes, but if you've been like studying and working all day, you deserve that like 1 hour to just focus on you, and that definitely has helped me, especially with nursing again, just like having my own time. And I make YouTube videos, so that's kind of like my hobby, is what I do. I also do social media, so I do Instagram, you can check that out. TikTok, I'm not really that active on TikTok, but you can go see that too. So that's kind of like my hobbies. I also like to bake. I do yoga, so just things like that definitely helps with like your mental well-being, and also you feel just better and you're not as stressed. Now I'm going to talk more about into nursing. So going back to the tip I said about you need to be okay with change. So when the pandemic hit, I was in my first term, of nursing, and I was in person for 3 months, and then we switched to online, and it was crazy because like the professors didn't know, like they've never had this before, like it was a change for everyone. This term especially, there was like short teachers for them to teach me, so I had to change my schedule, and I ended up doing full-time clinical when my school only does like 2 days a week. I had to do 5 days a week, and that was really hard because I had to change things in my everyday life. But just again, living in the moment and just accepting like this is what it is now. I might have to change things around, but in the end, like it will be for the best thing for me. Everyone's in the same kind of boat, and I think it's just good to know that like you're not alone. Just being okay with change, and like what has helped me with change is mindfulness practice. I use the app Headspace. That helped. It's like super easy. They give you breathing exercises and stuff like that, and that's really helped with like lowering my stress level when things change. And again, it's self-care, and that's really helpful. I also do yoga, and I think just again being with yourself and like accepting that this is where you are right now and this is how it is really helpful. And like I know it's really hard because even for me, I like look into the future, look into the past, but try to stay in the center and just be okay. Just tell yourself it's okay. I will get to the goal one day, and this is just a little bump in the road. Also, change can be good. So you never know. The change could be like, I think everything happens for a reason. So the change is just a little dip or flow in your path, and eventually you'll get there. How studying changed when I was in my first year to going into a faculty and going into the nursing faculty is before I used to use a lot of cue cards. That's kind of like how I studied. It was a lot of memorization. I took a lot of science courses, and most of those were like memorization and not really, well, applying a little bit, but in nursing it's definitely like more applying to like real life situations, like how does this work? It's definitely a lot of more application. So my cue cards didn't really work for that because I wasn't memorizing anything. It was more understanding what was being taught and then applying it to real life situations, because that's what I'm going to be doing. So it definitely was like a big switch. I remember studying for my first exam in nursing, and I was using cue cards, and I'm like, this is not working. There's too much information to write everything down. So I kind of, if you look at my last video, I'll show you how I study for my courses and like what I do. This term I did write some notes in a notebook. Just a quick little overview like that. Just some key things. So yeah, I would do cue cards in first year, which helped. It really, like I did well in my first few years. Well, not really my first year, but after I did pretty good. So that is how I studied, is cue cards and like asking friends, like quizzing each other. And then in nursing, it was definitely more application of how my studying changed. And It definitely has changed from high school to university to nursing, so it's kind of just a learning experience, and you have to see what works for you. I'm a visual learner, so I do draw diagrams. I always have. Yeah, you just have to kind of figure out what your professor's like, because every professor is different as well, but just be ready for change like I talked about before, because it does happen and you are going to have to learn new skills, but it helps you grow as a student and as a person, and I think it is great. I'm really happy with my university experience. Okay, so now I want to show you more about like what I pack for clinical for nursing. I think these things are really helpful. So obviously your uniforms, most schools I think give uniforms, so wear those or bring them to the hospital, bring a change of clothes. There's going to be a little bit where my camera goes in and out of being blurry, so just sorry about that. I do fix it later on. I like wearing caps just because with wearing a mask now, it does tend to hurt my ears a lot, and after a while you will get sore in your ears, and these ones actually have buttons, so I put the mask over the buttons so it like doesn't hurt my ears, because after a while it definitely gets irritated with the mask. So these have been really helpful, and I think they're just cute. So I got this off Amazon. I showed this in a previous video. It's just a little clipboard. So you can put all your papers in here, and then it has some information, extra information that you might need. I think this is really helpful just to have all your notes in like one place. The last thing I bring to clinical is like a little bag. So this is super cute. This bag, it says Nurse Survival Kit. I got it for Christmas from my boyfriend's family. I would recommend bringing a black pen, a blue pen, and a red pen. I don't have a red pen with me right now, but those three, because you're gonna need them. And even pack more than just one of each, because they go missing, they get lost, and you always need pens. But also bring a highlighter for when you're in school, just to like highlight important things. It's always good to have. Also essential oil. People say, oh, like the hospital smell, like how do you get used to it? Well, put a little bit under your nose and you will be smelling this all day and not smelling what a hospital smells like. So another thing I would recommend is to buy a pair of compression socks, or a few pairs. I found these really helpful when you're on your feet for most of the day. My school actually, they had someone come and measure our legs to get us sized, so I'm not really sure like where to get them, but this is the brand in case you're wondering. So I have 2 pairs of these, and yeah, I wear them and they're really good, so I'd recommend getting those. So it's really good to have extra gloves, extra alcohol swabs, and extra flushes in your pocket, just for that you can grab at any time. Alcohol swabs you're always going to need. Flushes if you're dealing with PICC lines or flushing IVs, it's always good to have on hand. Also gloves, you always need gloves, so I just put a few in my pocket just in case. Those are kind of what I keep in my pocket. Also my pens and pencil, but I have extra in my little pouch that I showed. My little pouch, I have extras in there. So yeah, those are what I keep in my pocket, what I bring, and kind of like my tips on how to survive clinical. Last thing I'm going to talk about is learning from your experiences. I think when you're, especially in nursing, just learning from things you've done well, things you can improve on is really beneficial. Write in a journal, do a reflection, say how your day went, and kind of like reflect on that. I think it's really good for growth and definitely has helped me. I've done that. And I think I've grown as a person and as a student nurse, and you can even do this in any faculty, even if you're just starting university. Kind of write how your day went and you can reflect on it and just grow from there, and I think that's really important. I think it's really important to acknowledge your emotions, write them down. You can talk to a professor, you can talk to a friend, a family member, a therapist. Just getting those emotions out really has helped me, because I feel like if you bottle them, it kind of, it just like puts like more pressure on you, and more pressure to be like that good perfect student, which no one is. And I think just letting out your emotions like really shows a lot of like strength. I cry a lot, and I think that it helps just get the emotions out, and then you can start brand new, and it's okay to not be perfect. You grow from not doing as well and taking time to reflect on that and learn from it, and that's how you grow. And also just like feeling your emotions and knowing how you feel also helps you grow as a person. So those are kind of like my tips, and yeah. This like helped a little bit if you're going into university or if you're starting nursing in a nursing school or nursing faculty. I hope these little tips help. Again, every school is different, so it really depends. You kind of have to go there and see what it's like, but this is just kind of my experience. My last year of school, which is crazy, I went right after high school, so that was in 2017 is when I graduated in June, and then I started in September of that year. So I've been in school since 2017 and it is 2022 now. I'll be graduating in 2023, hopefully. It's kind of crazy to me that I'm almost done school. It's been a very good journey and I definitely have learned more about myself and more about what my life's going to entail. So I hope you guys enjoy. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Also, sorry if the first part was a little bit like in and out. I had my autofocus on and I feel like it was kind of like blurry at some points, but then I did manual for the second half. So yeah, sorry about that if you guys watched the whole video. But anyways, thank you so much. Please subscribe, like this video, check out my other social medias if you want to see more of me, and I'll talk to you guys in my next one.